Day 117. 1 Chronicles chapter 6. Welcome. Today, we are diving into a chapter with a long list of names, families, temple workers and cities. We will uncover some whispers, and I pray you never look at lists of names in the Bible the same way again. From verses 1 to 15 we begin with generations of Levi's descendants, name after name, father after son, family line after family line. Why would God preserve these names? Because heaven remembers faithful people, even when earth forgets them. Many of these individuals lived ordinary lives. They were not kings. They did not lead famous battles. They may never have had crowds cheering for them. But they remained connected to God's assignment through generations. You do not need fame to make impact. Humans often measure success by followers, attention, money, or popularity. But God often measures success by faithfulness, consistency, and what continues after you are gone. Think about a grandmother who teaches her children to pray. A father who works honestly and models integrity. A teacher who shapes children with patience. A church worker nobody applauds. Their names may never trend online, but their influence may last for generations. Some people are trying to be impressive. God may be calling them to be dependable. The Levites remind us that a quiet life of obedience can create a loud legacy. Ask yourself, what am I building that will still matter after I am gone? Because your greatest success may not be what happens in your lifetime, but what begins because of it. Down to verses 31 through to 48, we see musicians appointed for worship, temple servants assigned duties, and different Levite families handling different responsibilities. Some sang, some served, some carried sacred objects, some assisted in rituals. Not everyone had the same task, but every role mattered. This is a lesson modern life desperately needs. Today, comparison is destroying peace. People compare careers, compare income, compare appearance, compare ministry titles, compare platforms. But here it shows that God builds communities with different assignments. Imagine if every person in a hospital wanted to be the surgeon. Who would manage medicines? Who would clean rooms? Who would run the front desk? Who would comfort patients? Different roles. Same mission. The same is true in families. One person may earn money. Another may organize the home. Another may nurture emotional health. Another may guide spiritually. Different roles. Same value. The tragedy of comparison is that it makes people abandon their lane trying to copy someone else's. The singers in the temple were not less valuable than the priests. The assistants were not useless because they were not visible. Your role may be behind the scenes, but still essential. You may not be the face of the project, but you may be the strength behind it. Stop asking, why am I not doing what they are doing? Instead ask, am I doing well what I was assigned to do? Purpose becomes clearer when comparison becomes quieter. Toward the end of the chapter, cities and dwelling places are assigned to the Levites throughout Israel. This seems like geographical information, but it reveals something profound. God scattered spiritual workers across the nation intentionally. They were placed in different regions, among different tribes, for influence, teaching, worship, and guidance. In simple terms, where they lived mattered. And that lesson still applies today. Many people think purpose only happens on stages, in churches, or in dramatic callings. But sometimes purpose is about placement. Why are you in that workplace? Why are you in that neighborhood? Why are you in that school? Why are you in that family? Maybe you are there to bring wisdom. Maybe you are there to bring peace. Maybe you are there to break unhealthy patterns. Maybe you are there to be light in a difficult environment. Some people keep waiting for a big opportunity, while ignoring the importance of where they already are. Your location may be part of your assignment. That office where everyone gossips, you may be there to model integrity. That family with constant conflict, you may be there to become the peacemaker. That classroom full of discouraged children, you may be there to speak life. The Levites teach us that placement is not random. Sometimes the place you want to escape is the place where your purpose needs to shine. Here is a recap of the scripture whispers we have learned from today's session. First, faithfulness creates legacy. Second, different roles can carry equal value. Third, your placement may be part of God's plan. So today, do not underestimate ordinary faithfulness. Do not despise unseen responsibilities. Do not ignore where you have been placed. Because what looks ordinary to people may be deeply strategic to God. And perhaps the greatest stories are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they are hidden in chapters people skip. Thank you for listening today. If this reflection encouraged you, take one lesson from 1 Chronicles chapter 6 and apply it this week. Your quiet obedience may be more powerful than you think.